Yo yo yo, it's your boy DMD. We're playing or not playing today. I kind of got bored and I thought, hey man, why not make a criminality tier list, specifically weapons? So now I'm going to just get straight. Tier list. Basically, I put what I like and what I don't like into these categories. Very simple. We're going to be starting out with the Beretta. Okay, so the Beretta has a very small damage. It's like 16 per round, but with the burst mode, it is a monster. It's like 6 hits to the body and like maybe like 5 hits to the head around that value. Yeah, it's 5 hits to the head around that. And it has low recoil. It is very cheap. It can be commonly found in crates if you're playing standard mode. It is a I mean, it can get something started definitely in the game. But you have to be looking out for your ammo because the real time, like usually on every other gun, is kind of lengthy, and you definitely don't want to use this against anyone who has armor. So definitely the B tier. Now I think this is the Glock 17 or this is the Glock 18. I don't know. But for Glock 17, I will definitely put this into C tier. You kind of have the 5 tap potentially usually on most ranges, but I mean, in general, you have a 5 tap potential. But something I don't like about a Glock is the fact that it is a gun. Like it can shoot, it can hit, it hits pretty hard. I died to countless Glock users. But I mean, if you're going to be spending like 250, I think, or 300 for this, then you can just get the Beretta and just kind of slaughter more shit with this. But then again, this is better for the long range combat overall because you have a bit more ammo, you have a bit more damage, the armor penetration works too. But then again, you only deal like 30% of your gun's actual damage to motherfuckers in armor, so you can tell that it is not that good still. Which is why it goes into C tier. Now, Glock 18, I will just say B tier. If you're buying the Glock 18, you can just buy the Mac 10. The Glock 18 has a insane fire rate. It has a insane fire rate with very mildly smaller damage than the actual Glock. But it has more ammo. It has more just okay. Higher fire rate, same armor penetration, practically same damage, same accuracy. It's basically a Mac 10 if you could set it to full auto, but with way worse ammunition. And for a Glock, it is very overpriced, but still it goes into the B tier because of the DPS it can have. I would say Deagle goes into probably A tier. Like definitely Deagle is too expensive for my fashion. Just literally it literally costs 1,000. You're basically paying 1,000 for a weapon which can kill on 3 taps, but is very loud, has a terrible recoil, um, is again expensive, and it's pretty heavy too. And it's really a good killer if you actually manage to use it properly, like most weapons here. But this one requires some very big skill here because you see, you don't have a lot of ammo with this, especially in the magazine. And now that we're talking about the very powerful handguns, practically hand cannons, I think I'm going to bring up the Magnum. Personally, the Magnum definitely deserves to go into S tier, but only under one condition. It is the fact that the Magnum can two-shot up close to the body, and by up close I mean relatively close, and it can also one tap to the head. And if you're far enough, it absolutely cripples the motherfucker that you have shot to the head. As far as I know, the bullet drop on this is pretty big. The damage fall off on this is pretty big. The armor penetration is the same as on the Deagle, but these two weapons are practically identical, except this deals like 50 damage and fucking murders things. Like this is an absolute slayer if you're going solo against solo players. And of course, it requires a bit more skill than a Deagle, mostly because of the fact that you have the delay when actually holding the trigger or when like pulling on the trigger. So you have to like time your shots well. But still, you don't even have to hit the player's head. You can just shoot the player twice, and they're just dead. They're just dead. And I'm sorry that I keep making those cuts, but I feel like I'm having an asthmatic attack while I don't even have asthma, or so it is known. Now the M1911, it's a fine gun, definitely A tier. It has a free tap to the head potential, 4 tap to the body potential. It is fast. It has a nice recoil. It's cheap. Definitely, it's not really worth the 450, but you can still utilize this weapon pretty well if you're looking for like a golden balance between the Glock and the Deagle. The armor penetration works too. Kind of players that get shot with this take 50% of the damage, or I think that's how the armor system actually works. Or maybe I think it's like 0.3, maybe, I don't know. But it's a good gun. Definitely can work against a tier 1, against a tier 2, I'm not sure. But for tier 2s and above, or for motherfuckers that are in armor in general, definitely the SKS works way better. So that's what goes into A tier. So now I'm just going to go with the SKS instant C tier. So what I mean about the SKS is the fact that it is basically a way less compact, way heavier M1911. The only thing you get with this weapon compared to the M1911 is, first of all, you have a lot more ammunition. Secondly, you have a lot more penetration. According to the Wikipedia, or according to the criminality Wikipedia, this weapon can 5-tap a T2 armor kit. And that's without headshots, I believe. And this can also 3-tap to the head. This can also 7-tap a T3 armor kit. I think if it's only body shots or only with headshots, which it's just fucking unbelievable because this weapon actually costs very cheaply for how it can actually perform in the right hands. But the issue about this gun is that it has a long reload time. It is quite pricey actually, because you just get a kind of a glorified M1911. But if you're hunting players in armor, then it definitely works. But this isn't recommended. But it's not good to go solo with this, because basically, I mean, you can go solo with this if you have something to defend yourself with, because the gun is kind of heavy. The gun takes a while to equip. The gun is it just slows you down so much. And I don't even have to mention the fact that it's just kind of trash for self-defense overall. So this is definitely a more offensive weapon. Moving on, yeah, the Sonov. Sonov goes into B tier. It is very cheap. It is very deadly, preferably. Objectively, one of the best weapons in the game for ambushing. You just have to be very fast. You just have to do it very quickly. This weapon especially shines in standard, where the first shot downs the player and the second shot eradicates the player. And you can say that this is technically the fastest shotgun, publicly available shotgun in the game, but the accuracy is terrible. But I mean, it's a very lightweight shotgun that you can just casually go and pair with like a Glock or a Beretta, so you're gonna have like a very deadly combo. Or you can just casually spend like $350 to have 2 DB shotguns and just go on a massive killing spree with like a quick switch combo. But then again, if you're spending $350, you can now get the Tech 9. The Tech 9, in my opinion, would definitely deserve to go into the S tier. It is a brutally glorified Beretta. You have a nice fire rate, you have decent damage, the armor penetration is very low too, I believe. I didn't check that out. But you have the burst mode, you have a lot more ammo in a magazine. To be exact, you have 6 more rounds in a magazine, which is pretty much enough to save you in some situations. You can fast tap with this, the recoil is fine. I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself. And anything that could be said about the Beretta here applies to the Tech 9. For most part, but way better. The alleyway monster and the rapist of random guys with melees and baseball bats, so the same thing, Ithaca would, in my opinion, go into the A tier. It's a good gun for solo. Like, it is definitely a good gun for solo. You're gonna have quite a few rounds in your magazine or in your tube. Your fire rate is definitely lacking, and it does definitely take up a few spots on in your inventory. It definitely has a bad penetration, and but the damage is just monstrous. So I mean, legit, if you're in a team or if you're not in a team, this gun functions very well at its purpose. And the gameplay style I would approach with this shotgun would just like walk around the corners of the map or just walk around the less populated areas. So just like so in question, entirely avoid um, Armory 1, Armory 2. Just walk around the loot areas and just look for players to eradicate. And just hope that they don't have like a automatic or something. I'm trying to find it. Okay, Turbo Shotgun definitely goes in the same tier. It's the same, just like less mobility. I mean, just more mobility. It is a bit more expensive. It is slightly weaker. Less ammo again, but shit, someone's messaging me. Sorry, but it's the same as Ithaca, except it's like way better for the aggressive approach, where you kind of have to still aim your shots better, but it works the same. Mostly because of the low ammo capacity. The VMP is in question just a expensive, glorified M1911. It is definitely good because you kind of have the sight with it, but still, it costs 800, and for 800 you could get a sawn off. For 800 you could literally get a sawn off at an intertech just under, and still have a lot more to spend. But it works. The sights definitely are a good thing to it, but still, like, you won't really need sights on a pistol unless you're kind of sniping people from across the map, which I did actually encounter a lot of people using this to snipe. But then again, I just kind of don't get the point of sniping with weapons, which can usually like only 4 shot at best to the body. So that's why it goes into the B tier. But it has a nice ammo capacity, and I mean the attachment is still good. It is still good. Uzi, definitely S tier, or yeah, S tier. It's a good gun if you're going solo. It is very cheap. It is very effective at killing targets which are alone and don't have any sort of armor. But then again, you can still put up quite a fight with this against a mildly armored player. This can like 4 tap, 5 tap a player on headshots and like 6 to 7 tap a player on normal hits, as far as I remember. But yeah, it's a automatic which fires pretty fast. It has good recoil control. It is also relatively accurate because I once managed to actually hit players from like um well, from very far, just simply from very far. I managed to actually hit players from very far with this. Like from the one building where you have the safe that is right behind Armory 1 to the building, to the rooftop of the building of Thrift Star. And I managed to headshot that guy from that one point to the other with a Uzi somehow. But that was probably a very lucky shot. Okay, Tommy gun definitely. The Tommy gun is it's Tommy gun. Then again, it's good for solo. It's just a beefed up, way better version, or not way better, but I would say it's just A tier because, well, one, it is very expensive. Secondly, um, it does take up some space in your inventory, but it can kill very well. It can kill very, very well. In terms of just general slaughtering, you have a lot of rounds in your magazine, you have a lot of ammo in reserve, you have the high fire rate, the good recoil control, I'd say. It's overall a good weapon for close range. The Mag 10, in my opinion, would just still go into C tier. Like, it's just like it's like a slightly more expensive, or actually not B tier. The mag tank kind of works if you're going in it for a more aggressive approach, you know, a fast fire rate, high DPS. You're going to eat for your ammo very fast, and you certainly don't want to fight against players that like have armor. But then again, you have the very fast fire rate, you have the very high DPS. You can kind of fuck up the player's armor and still kill him on the. And if you get close enough, you can still fuck up the player, and probably get an assist kill, but or just kill the player. You deal like 20 damage per round, so it's a 5-tap gun. But usually, by the point you actually kill the player, you fire out like 10, so it's not a very ammo effective weapon, and especially it especially cannot go semi mode, which kind of ruins the gun a bit. But again, it's a very aggressive weapon. I haven't tried the UMP a lot, but I can definitely tell it's just a AKSU, except it has a cheaper refill price. It's slightly more expensive. It has better recoil control, slightly less DPS, but overall it's the same thing as the AK, just a bit but just a bit better on the ambush aspect. On like, it's not that good on aggressive combat. It's definitely good if you're like third partying, and it's kind of a more quiet gun, I'd say. It's what's there to say? It's just an AK. It's just an AK, just like slightly better. So just slightly better for different gameplay styles. But the AK is still better because it's slightly cheaper. But as long as I heard, this has a very, very, very good refill price. But then again, when you're playing standard, the amount of times you're going to be fucked over in standard mode in standard mode. Hold on, checking. Okay, you're going to be fucked over very often in standard mode if you're going anywhere near an armory to refill your ammo, especially. Definitely S tier. High armor penetration, high fire rate, high damage. Pretty good for solo too. You can manage to rack up like 10 kills with this, or I mean you can manage to rack up a lot of kills with this. It definitely works very well against armored players too. As I said, it can like 6-tap. It can like 6-tap, 7-tap a T2, I think. Again, I'm very bad at maths, so you can correct me, but we can guess that. But let's just guess it can like 7-tap, 8-tap an average tier 2, which they seem to be actually quite common in standard mode, or at least in the servers I joined. I have tried out this one a lot actually. It is definitely fun. Like, it is definitely a very entertaining weapon. And if you manage to use it very properly, you can get a lot of kills with this. But sometimes I really question the way this weapon functions, because literally once I shot this bitch that was sniping from a window, like with an AK, okay, and I was like on the roof near Armory 1, and she was on the rooftop of thrift store, and I like shot a grenade at her. It was a direct hit, or it was probably a guy, and I fucking hit him from that far. I was given 40 XP. And he didn't fucking die for some reason. He fucking survived that. And he didn't even seem to have armor. It's a fucking grenade launcher. Fuck. Just so you know, I'm very sorry that I stretched up this video a bit, but okay. So, basically these two very effective killers of armored players. These two very effective killers of general player base. These 6, these 6. They're good. They're cheap. They work, I suppose. Oh yeah, actually this is a dig. I'm kind of blind. Sorry about it. These 6, they work. They kill. They work. They kill. Some of them are a bit expensive and such. And about this one, I have never really much utilized the fact you can shoot CS gas grenades and Molotov grenades on them, or just incendiary grenades on them. But I can definitely see the potential there, because legit you can just fire out a CS gas grenade at a motherfucker, then take out a SKS and open fire, and shred these motherfuckers, or I mean like pull out anything that can actually kill these niggas. And Is it really worth the price of 8,000? Definitely not, but it's a grenade launcher, so I'm going to excuse that because it's just very fun. It's a glorified Mech 10. It deals the same damage or slightly higher damage. It has a better armor effectiveness. It has a better recoil control. It's just a, it's like a superior Mech 10 that costs the same as an AK. Like there isn't much to say. I've never tried out this gun, but I can definitely tell. What? Yeah, I have never ever tried out this gun much. Like the only time I actually ever got to hold this gun um was in casual mode when golden scraps were still a thing before golden crates came in. And I can definitely remember this gun being a fucking monster. And now I'm just going to be rating it in the S tier entirely based on the stats because so I think you deal like 27 to 29 damage with this. You have 0.8 penetration. You have high magazine size. You have iron sight. You have a laser. You have very terrible recoil control, that's for sure. But this is a fucking monster. And I've actually once saw it at a dealer for like 6,000. So it's definitely not worth buying. But it definitely is worth fucking around with if you want to give yourself a little treat. Fucking faggots running around. The mayor, okay, the mayor and the scout definitely go into C tier. They're very expensive. They're not very effective for general killing. They're only good for killing high tier, high bounty players, and especially once someone actually hears you with a scout or well with a mayor, everyone goes after you. And the mayor is overall a very bad weapon for self defense. Scout is even worse for self defense because it's kind of slower. But definitely, the scout is honestly way better. But the scout definitely like gains a lot of potential in blackout if you buy the thermal goggles, which totals in 1100 in 11,000, which is very fucking expensive. But if you want to LARP as Captain Price, it's definitely very fun. I have never had a BFG. I have never had an RPG, or actually, I had an RPG like once or twice. I would definitely put it into probably B tier because you're gonna have the massive damage potential and massive radius potential. It costs 12,000 though, and it's actually very rare for it to appear in stores at the dealer. And in general, it can function. Like I've never tried this out in standard mode, but definitely I can see just blowing up a retard with this and getting a nice juicy 5,000 XP out of him. Like that's for sure. For the BFG, I'm going to be looking at it like just the same as IKM. I'm going to be looking at it from stats. You deal 130 damage from all distances to the body on all contact. It has an explosive round 2, which activates way earlier than the rest of the rounds from RPGs and grenade launchers. But I just kind of don't get the purpose. Like, I mean, what do you want to do with it? It's like, do you want to like specifically hunt down this motherfucker with a 10k bounty, or is this really for the XP? Like, is it? It costs 18,000. With 18,000, I can literally get a tier 3 kit, an AK, and a pistol to defend myself with. But 18,000 and get this shitty self-defense gun that just blasts away anything that it touches. I just don't get the point. Now I have tried out the FAL in standard mode only once, but again, looking at statistics, it's basically Deagle, just a lot more expensive. It has more ammo. It has very good armor penetration. It's like free tap to the body too, and it's 2 tap to the head too. So it is a very powerful weapon, but you have to just again but also the recoil control should be better, and it also shouldn't be that hard to actually hit rounds with this, and especially it's not as punishing as on a Deagle because you have a lot more ammo. It's just a AK and AKM with higher DPS, I'd say, or just a AK 74. It has a mildly higher DPS, I'd say. The armor penetration definitely lags, the damage lags too, but then again it's 5 tap, so it works fine. And I'm just looking through. Okay. Anyway, guys, I'm very sorry that this video was very long. I'm sorry that I'm talking fast like Ben Shapiro, and I'm sorry that I keep briefing like a retard. I just got very bored, and just know that I'm only level 45 in criminality, and thus my opinion shouldn't matter that much. But still, thank you very much for watching, and feel free to correct me, I suppose.